Let's just talk about slicing your driver or cutting your driver, and when the overcut comes in, probably when you're hopefully trying to play your shot patterns. Let's show you what I mean.
If you like the ideas in any of our coaching videos, this one and other ones with myself and Coach Lockey, and you're interested in the services we offer for golf lessons, what you can do is hit the link down below to our My Golf Gains website where you can inquire. This can be done remotely as well as in person. Follow the links down below and you could be having a lesson from myself or Coach.
So this is a common pattern I'm seeing at the moment when I talk about shot patterns. So what's a shot pattern? I've got a driver at the moment that tends to fade. So I am going to aim up the left, try my hardest to start the ball up the left and play that pattern. So that started left and it's basically falling to the right. So that one I've not started left. You can see it just leaking off to the right. So there's my pattern. So let's just show you my pattern of those drives. So what these drives are showing is I go very rarely left towards target with a leak to the right. So I'm averaging 14 yards right and I've got a standard deviation of 16 yards. So my standard deviation is very tight. I would look towards getting this closer to 0. I've got a few too bigger leaks in there. So I would say normally I'm a bit more around 3-4 to the right, and then my standard deviation is around 16 if I hit more shots. So basically that shot pattern requires me to aim up the left, not straight. I'm going to play that shot. It's a shot I like to see, I feel comfortable with it, and I like seeing it just moving one way every time. And one thing you'll find a lot with good players is they're not always aiming at the target. They will be playing their patterns. If they hit the ball straight, they'll be aiming at the target, so with no curvature. Now, I do a lot of videos at the moment talking about playing your patterns, so playing the curve, don't always fight it. Obviously, there's times when you need to fight it and fix angles, those kind of things. But if you've got something repeating, playing that pattern is a good thing. Now, I say to people, so let's say I've got trouble, let's say I cannot go right of this line. So the straight line here, and hit a drive, I'm not allowed to go right of it. So what I'm going to do now on this shot is you're going to see me aiming right across my mat here. I'm now aiming further left. There's room up the left for me to try and start it. Just can't go right at this line. So if I go right at that line, I basically hit a bit of fairway that, say, kicks it into trouble. So I've started that at the left, it's just moving back and I'm nowhere near that line going right of it. I'm trying to get to as close to it as possible. What I see people say when I say aim up the left to play your fade, and if there's trouble on the right, like this situation, just aim further left if there's room on the left. Common response I'm seeing from students and online is it makes them cut it more. So the more they aim up the left, they say what happens is they actually cut it more. Just think about that. So here are all my shots. It's not a fairway wood, I've just not changed the club. So I'm 5, 5, 5, 5, 6 out to in. Last one I'm 11 out to in here. So the club is more out to in, almost double what it was. That's not because I'm swinging across it more, it's because I'm aiming across the launch monitor more. In effect, it's the same swing, because if you look at the face in relationship to that path, you can see here it's 0.1 open, it's pretty square to that path. And the normal face, 0.3, 2.7, 0.8, 1.7, 0.3, and the last one, 0.1. So the only thing that's changing from my normal pattern is my 0 point. I'm moving my 0 point, but trying to keep everything else the same. So if you imagine if I hit the ball this way, the launch monitor would read it as 90 degrees in to out, and vice versa. If I hit the ball this way, the launch monitor would read it as 90 degrees out to in. It's the same swing. That's fixed and I'm moving. Your target's fixed and you've got to move. Now the problem I see people do is they move, so they're aiming more up the left. They get everything going left, but they often will leave the face behind. So they'll leave the face back to where, or in the region of, where they think that ball wants to end up, rather than moving everything around. So if I hit this one, not allowed to go right of that line, and there's the bigger slice. I mean, if we look at that's a hilarious slice, in fact. I don't think they do it quite that bad. So if you look at the last one, I'm 12, 13 across, only 2 degrees difference, really 1.9 difference. It didn't read the face, but the face would have been crazy open. It was a toe strike, so I hit one of my dots. So what are some of those challenges people are facing of moving their 0 point in a different direction. Well, you've got to ask yourself, in a different direction to what? One thing I've noticed with teaching with launch monitors and in bays for years is you get people to aim across the straight lines that are placed in front of them. They get in a bit of a mess. Those straight lines just completely confuse them. They can't see past them. And if you think about a teeing ground, they'll tend to point in a direction. The markers will tend to point you, and generally the tee box will point you. It'll be built in a general direction. Even though you're in nature, there will be these straight lines. They'll often be cut grass, like you can see on the simulated range. See the cut lines of the grass. You've got to be able to shed those, get rid of those, eradicate those, and create your own lines. So for me on this shot, trying to keep it up the left, I am seeing imaginary lines going this way. There's a little bit of grass on the floor here. I'm thinking I want to start the ball now over that if I don't want it to start right of this line or even ever go right of this line to aim up the left. The face has come with me. My hips, my knees, feet, shoulders have all come with me. I'm not leaving stuff behind and just whacking my feet around, which is something I see so common in way people try to hit it when they're trying to counter their shapes to the danger that's out there. So committing your body positions to your new imaginary straight lines and sending them up the left to allow it to try and move back. Go on, keep going, is a real skill, and one I see lots of golfers definitely struggling on. Now obviously you want to work on reducing curvature and slice and those kind of ideas, but a functional shape like this driver promotes for me, a little bit of a kind of 5-yard, 10-yard fade that can turn into a 15, 20-yard one if I'm not careful. You go and put trouble up on the right. I need to defend. I need to make sure if one of my leaky ones is coming out, it's still in play. I'm just simply moving my shot pattern away from that target. But you've got to commit with every part of your body. Other great ways of practicing this, and I do this with my daughter and I do it with students when I'm trying to get them to practice and practice in a more reliable way. If your practice consists of you on a tee, inside in a bay with lines, at a driving range with a bay with lines and what have you, play with those lines, hit along them, then hit across them. Do practice hitting into the left corner of the range. Do practice trying to keep it left of your intended target. Even the other way, hit it up to the right side of the range and try and fade it right into the right corner if that's your shot pattern. Because this works for draws and fades as well. It's the same thing. People put trouble on the left, get them to aim right, and they hook it more. Again, they tend to leave the face back behind. Again, they don't push it more that way. They just instinctively push that face towards where they want that ball to go. It's such a human kind of natural desire. Also, what you'll find as well, which is really interesting for you to work into your shot patterns, is the more you aim one side of these lines, you might see different shape patterns. So the fade does exaggerate more when you aim left. So then you will need to put more attention to make sure that face is in place, more attention into whatever release patterns you're working on or swing thought to try and calm that down. Think about it. I can't go right of this line. I'm not just going to stand here and hope I don't go right of this line. Obviously there is a possibility I can do it, but I'm going to use everything in my power, from the way I set up to my swing thoughts, to make sure this ball stays up that left side. Get practiced at moving everything, shifting everything around where your imaginary or forced straight lines are. It'll really help you hit more fairways. It will help you play your shot patterns a lot more, and it will help you lower your scores. Let me know if this helps in the comments down below. This is a more practical idea of how to control a shot that so many people struggle with, but so many people have to play and get around the course with. Hopefully this helps.